Hello everyone, this is Jody with Grace and Faith, and today we're going to start a new series about our Instant Pots. If you are like me, you have heard so much craze about the Instant Pot, so I rushed out, I got one. I actually asked my mom for one for Christmas, and then it sat in the box. Why did it sit in the box? Because I was using it. You can go back to my anxiety series and see why I may have been scared to use it. It raised my anxiety quite a bit, but I'm glad I finally got over my anxiety and dove in and used this, because this is now one of my favorite kitchen appliances that we use. I'm one of those people who are always raving about the Instant Pot and referring people to go get one for themselves. Before we can jump in and start talking about or start creating recipes with it, we need to understand the Instant Pot. What is it, and what are all these buttons for? You'll see that there's lots of buttons on here. So Instant Pot is a pressure cooker. It's an electric pressure cooker. For me, it took place of a rice maker, my slow crock pot. It makes yogurt. It is a fantastic tool for me, and this is what I pretty much always cook in now. So let's dive in. What are all of these buttons on here? You can check out my blog down below after this video, and it will have a more precise, closer up photo for you, so you can actually see these buttons closer to see which ones I am pointing to, so you can understand it a little bit more. First off, we're gonna start up here. Let's just talk about the Instant Pot at all. So in order to open it, that's my favorite, is the noise. It has the lid that comes apart, and then you have a pot inside. You obviously always want to make sure that your pot is in here, or the Instant Pot is not going to work well. And then the lid will go on. You'll hear that noise, and then you twist it. So that's how you get one if you weren't for sure. But let's talk about the buttons that we have. Up here in the top corner, we have the soup button. As you can imagine, to be using this for soups. There's different ways. It will automatically, you'll put in the contents that you want, whatever that might be, you would put that in here, and then you can just hit soup. The automatic default button is 30 minutes. Now remember, any of these default times that I say, so if I say 30 minutes, you have to remember that the Instant Pot has to come to pressure. It's now saying that it's working on pressure, which I'm actually going to stop because I don't have anything in here. But you have to remember that when it says 30 minutes, it's not just 30 minutes. You have to wait for the crock pot to come to pressure for your whole total time. And so that could be anywhere from 10, 15, sometimes depending upon how much stuff you have in here, maybe even 20 minutes. The more liquid you have in here, the longer it takes for it to come to pressure. So if I hit that button, it automatically does 30 minutes. If I hit it again, it'll default, oh sorry, not that one. If I hit adjust down here, you can adjust it to 40 minutes. If you hit it twice, it goes down to 20 minutes. So you can adjust that time accordingly. Underneath the soup, we have meat and stews. And so if you have some sort of meat, like your roast or whatnot, you can put that in here. Again, you can hit that. It automatically goes to 35 minutes. If you hit the adjust, I don't know why I keep hitting those buttons again. If you hit it to adjust, it'll go to 45 minutes. Hit adjust again, and it drops to 20. This is so that you can be in control of your time. So if you have a smaller piece of meat or a larger, you can go from there. Oftentimes, I just hit the button depending upon my meat. Next one is beans or chili. My husband loves to put his pinto beans in here, and he also makes his refried beans this way. And we also did a soup with lentil soup in here, and we did not pre-wash, or we did not pre-soak the lentils. We did pre-wash them, and then we just threw them in and hit soup, and it makes it. So with chili, again, you're gonna hit that. It's a default 30 minutes, adjust 40, and then 25. So as you can see, almost all of these have that. After the bean, you have poultry, which will be your chickens and things like that. Again, you can hit the button, and then you can hit it to go up higher or down lower. Over here, we have the rice button. Now, something that I have learned is rice is the only button that does not allow you to adjust. What the cool thing about rice, if I hit the rice button and then I hit adjust, you can see it doesn't do anything. That's because the rice button actually will automatically adjust its time based on how much
rice you actually put into your Instant Pot. Now this rice button is for white rice. So like your jasmine, your basmati, things like that that are white rices go up on the rice button, and then you can hit that rice and it will automatically adjust the time for that, which is really, really awesome. We love doing our rice in here. We will throw in some lime juice and some cilantro and make a cilantro lime. It's fantastic. And it's always, I don't know if you're like me, but whenever I do this on the stove, I would either overcook it or undercook it, and I never got it right. So this one, I just throw it in here and it's done. Right underneath the rice button, you're gonna see multi-grain. These are for your grains. You can also do like brown rice and your wild rice type stuff here. Again, you're gonna hit that one and you can adjust the time on that one as well. Underneath that is porridge. Yep, just like the story tale, right? Goldilocks and the Three Bears had her porridge. So that's for your porridge, same thing. And then underneath that is one of our favorites is steam. We use the steam button for fish, and obviously if you want to steam your vegetables. Now when you do steam, I do recommend that you put it on a steaming basket or a trivet. Let me show you what ours looks like real quick. This is our steam basket. It can adjust. I love it. So I just slide this in there. I put the water in, you just pour the water in and put this on top, and this goes down. We use this for quite a few things, especially if we are steaming our vegetables or fish. Underneath your steam is the yogurt button. If you have the model that does yogurt, some models do not have the yogurt button, but mine does. So we will do that one a little bit later. I have another video coming in the future for the yogurt. We'll talk about that one down the road. Right underneath yogurt, you can see that it says keep warm. This is where if you're, as you heard, I can hit off. So when I was hitting these buttons, if I need to stop, I can hit off. It will also, you can hit that button so it keeps it warm. Once it's done, you can see that you can set the timer and it will actually work as like a warmer and just keep your food warm. This is a good button for us. My family is often really busy and running around, and so oftentimes I will make dinner in the Instant Pot, and some of us might eat earlier and then some of us might need to eat later because of schedules, and so I will often just put it on warm so then whoever comes in later still has a warm meal because it's been sitting on warm for a while. So that is a great function. As we go across, you can see underneath that is a timer. You can actually put your food into the Instant Pot and hit timer and allow it to, set for a certain amount of time until it, excuse me, until you want it to start. Now, you can't just hit timer like I was just trying to do because I was not thinking a moment. So what you have to do is say I wanted to do rice, and I set the rice, and then you can put the timer for how long you want that to go. You can see it blinking, and what we're going to do is come up here, and you can see that there's a plus and a minus. These are your like adjustment buttons, I guess, and you can increase or decrease the time here just by hitting those buttons. I'm going to turn that one off. And then one of our other favorite ones is called manual. And so this one is for some recipes. You might just say like do manual at so many minutes or whatever. And so you can just hit manual. It automatically goes to 30 minutes, and then you can choose the time that you would prefer there. And our last one, I think, oh no, we have a couple of them. So we still have pressurize. If I hit pressurize, you can see it. I don't know if you can see it from this video, but there's actually a button that says low pressure or high pressure. So when I hit that, you can change the amount of pressure you want to put on to your meal. We also have the, I can't see it from over here, slow cook. So you can use the Instant Pot as a slow cooker. I prefer myself typically if I'm going to slow cook something, I probably would still use my crock pot. But I don't really slow cook anything now that I have this, just because I throw everything in here for most stuff. Like I just throw everything in here. For me, I use slow cooker when I knew I was going to have a busy day, but now I just pre-plan everything and know when I get home I'm just going to throw everything in here and it'll be done really quick rather than having to let it sit all day long. So, I mean, play with it how you want. I personally don't really use slow cook very much anymore. I like to go fast. And the last one is one of my favorite functions as well is Saute. Oftentimes when I had to bake stuff or do things, you would, saute certain things. You have to brown your meats or things like that. The awesome thing with the Instant Pot is I can brown my meats right here inside. You hit the saute button. Again, you can choose to do, oh there, I hit adjust. I was hitting the wrong button again. Hit adjust and you can do hot or more. These temperatures will vary on what you need. I'm going to go low and then you're going to wait for it when you're doing the saute. Oh, I made a big mistake. You need to take the lid off if you are doing sauteing. You will wait and it's now saying that it's getting ready to saute and you can see that it says on. Even though it says on, that does not mean that the Instant Pot is ready to saute. That means it is heating up. You actually want to wait until this display says hot before you actually put your oil and meat in there to saute it. So I'm going to let this sit so you can see how long it takes before it says hot. Some of the other things that we want to be aware of. There is a plastic rubber, I guess, more rubber liner inside your lid. You will want to take this out to clean it for one. A lot of people will buy multiple ones of just this rubber piece itself, not the whole lid, just the rubber piece, and use them for different flavorings. So if you're going to do a strong flavor, I like to do a lot of Asian cooking in my Instant Pot, and so this will often smell like ginger and garlic or something. And if you're going to bake, you can also do awesome cheesecakes. I've done a cheesecake in here and it turned out fantastic. So if you're going to do a cheesecake or something like that, you probably want to have a different ring so that way it's more of a sweet smelling and you don't get the taste of ginger. Now, I don't have two of them myself yet just because I'm frugal like that. What I prefer is I just throw in some vinegar and some water and some lemon peels and I steam my basket and it takes the smell right out. And so if I know I'm going to be doing some baking in there, I just do that first. So, but back to this ring, you want to make sure that it's completely in here. Otherwise, it will not seal all the way. So make sure if you're having trouble coming to pressure, you want to make sure that that seal is definitely all the way in and just go around it and make sure that it's in. Also in the back part of our lid, let's talk about the lid for a moment. I don't know if you can read this very well from there, but you can see that this part moves, right? And so the down part is venting. So if your Instant Pot comes to pressure and you need to release the pressure, you will pull this down and it will release all of the pressure and water that's inside. Caution, be very careful as water is going to, or steam is going to come out of this area and it is very hot, very hot. So do not, put your hand over top of it or your face or allow kids to be there. You want to back off from that. If I were just setting it and I close the lid, you're going to lift this up to where it says sealing. And so you're going to seal it. You're going to close it up there and it's going to seal. So how do you know when it's pressure and it's cooking? This little gray button, I don't know, you can see, I just pushed it down. That means it is not sealed. That means your pot is not come to pressure yet and it's not cooking. I'm going to see if I can get it to come up. It's kind of, it's up, but when I bring it up, it goes down. But you can see it kind of comes flush with the black part of the lid. That means your Instant Pot is sealed and it is not safe for you to open up the lid. It more than likely, like, I've never tested it because I don't really want to get hurt and get blown up on. But you should not be able to lift the lid. The Instant Pot has safety measures built in so that when that seal is up, you cannot lift the lid. I should say cannot. You'd have to pry it open really hard. If it's hard to open, don't open the lid. That's how people get hurt. Even for me, when it says, when that little gray pin goes down, that means it's safe to open. And for myself, just as a double precaution, I then take my, the trigger and I drop it down to venting. And I just make sure that there's no air in it. And then I twist it open. And I always open away from me because there's still some steam that comes out. Not like explosive hot steam, but it's just like opening off a lid off of a boiling pan. There's always some steam and water that might come out. So I always open the opposite way of where I'm standing to let it go out that way. As you can see, our pot is now saying hot. So now would be a good time to go ahead and throw in my oils and brown whatever meat I want to, or you can saute your garlic and onions, things like that, and then throw the rest of your stuff in there. Hit the buttons of whatever you're going to pre-program And then you would put your lid on and a twist, and then you would seal it and then let it go. And now when this is done cooking, it'll actually beep and let you know that it's done. Then something that there's two different ways of pressurizing. You can let this sit. Once your meal is done cooking, it'll beep to let you know that your meal is finished cooking. And then it will, it'll keep it warm, right? That we talked about before. It'll just sit here and stay warm. Now, it's still pressurized at first. And so certain things you're going to want to release immediately. When I steam my vegetables, my rice, things like that, I automatically come over and I flip this to venting and I release all of that steam. So that's called a quick release. So if you're looking at a recipe and it says do a quick release, that is what, or like a manual release, that's what they're talking about. If you wait for it to naturally do it, my cat wants to come up even though she's not allowed up here. If you wait for it to naturally release, that's what a natural release is all about. So I hope that this video was helpful for you of learning the basics of the Instant Pot. And tomorrow we will get started with cooking. Thank you guys for joining us, and I will see you next time.